Queen Elizabeth II of United Kingdom passed away recently, and she has left a void which will be difficult to fill by others. Now it will be interesting to see that what lies ahead for the United Kingdom. Hello and welcome to the In Focus series section of Drishti IAS. I am Aisha Singh, and in today's video we will be discussing about British Commonwealth, its past, present and the post Queen Elizabeth future, that what lies ahead for the Commonwealth nations. So first let us see the timeline of the video. First we will be looking at what is the news, then what is Commonwealth nations, then about its history and what are the positives it is having for the other nations, then Queen Elizabeth and her relation with the Commonwealth nations, then what about the countries who are leaving the Commonwealth. In the end we will be talking about a prelims MCQ and a mains practice question. This topic is of relevance from General Studies Paper 2 International Groupings. See, from prelims you should be able to know that what are Commonwealth nations and what is India's stand and India's take on it, or what is India's relationship with it. Then from mains perspective you should be able to know history of Commonwealth, India's relationship with Commonwealth and about the Commonwealth nations. So let's get started and see the news. This news has been taken from the Indian Express and it says, the British Commonwealth, what is its past, present and what will be the probable future after the death of the Queen Elizabeth II. So first let's see that what is it that is keeping the interest of future of the Commonwealth nation in so much of uncertainty. See, after passing of Queen Elizabeth II on 8th September, now her son, that is Prince Charles III, will be taking over the throne or will be becoming the king. So what at present what holds in the Commonwealth nation is that Commonwealth nation is a grouping of 56 countries, and out of 56 countries 14 countries continue to recognize the monarch as their head of state. So out of 56 it is the only 14 countries which recognize British or which recognize the king or the queen of British as the head of the state. Then what happens is that if some countries wants to change something in it and does not want the king or the queen to be the head of the state, then they need to change the law or statute which is there in place. And this has triggered calls for a referendum in jurisdictions. And recently we have seen that many countries wants to leave the Commonwealth as the nationalist feeling inside the countries are gaining prominence. So recently Barbados has left the Commonwealth in 2021, and one of Barbados' neighbors, that is Jamaica, in future might follow it. It is projected that Jamaica in future might wants to leave the Commonwealth. And Australia, New Zealand and Canada are the constitutional monarchies. So they are the constitutional monarchies, important word. Not every country present in the Commonwealth or all the 56 countries are constitutional monarchy. It is the Australia, New Zealand, Canada which are the constitutional monarchies, and new monarch will become their head of state. So till now Queen was their head of state, and now when the Prince Charles will become the head of state, then he will also be becoming the head of the state of these countries also. Now let us look at what are Commonwealth nations. See, Commonwealth nations is a grouping of countries, and this grouping consists of 56 member countries. Important prelims point that how many members are present in the Commonwealth nations. There are 56 members, and these 56 members, majority of them belongs to Africa, Asia, America and the Pacific, while the European nations does not have that much of prominence, and there are only 3 European countries present in the Commonwealth, and that is Cyprus, Malta and of course the United Kingdom. And out of these 56 countries, 14 of these countries are called Commonwealth realms. So Commonwealth realm is a subgrouping which consists of 14 countries out of 56 countries. and British monarch, which after Queen Elizabeth II is the King Charles III, is the head of state. So now King Charles III will be the head of state of all these countries, that is the Commonwealth realms. And who are these 14 countries which are present in the Commonwealth realms is Antigua and Barbuda, Australia, Bahamas, Canada, Grenada, Jamaica, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, Nevis, Saint Lucia, and many others. You can read all their names. So important point here becomes how many countries are part of Commonwealth nations, that is 56, and how many countries are in Commonwealth realms, that are 14 countries. And I told you about 3 countries who are constitutional monarchies. Who are those 3 countries? These are Australia, New Zealand and Canada. Australia, New Zealand and Canada are the 3 constitutional monarchies. Now out of 56, 14 were constitutional realms and 36 are republics, and India come under these republics. So India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka are part of these 36 countries who are republics, and 5 countries they have their own monarch. Means 14 countries were called constitutional realms whose head of state was earlier Queen Elizabeth II and will be now Prince Charles III, while 36 are republics and India is one of those republics, and 5 have their own monarchs. And who are these 5 countries? They are Brunei, Lesotho, Malaysia, Eswatini, which was earlier called Swaziland, and Tonga. And one of the uniting features of all these 56 Commonwealth countries is what? We are very used to it, that is the Commonwealth Games. So Commonwealth Games is one of the most uniting features of these Commonwealth nations, and Commonwealth Games is a multi-sport international competition which is held every 4 years in one of the member countries. And Commonwealth Games have also taken part in India, that was in 2010, and the latest edition of the Commonwealth Games took part in Birmingham, that is 2022. Now let us look at the history of the Commonwealth. See, Commonwealth Games contains India, which is so big in population. So Commonwealth nations are home to 2.5 billion people, and it is about a third of the world's population, because majority of the population lies in the Asian region, and Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, everyone is part of the Commonwealth nations. And small Commonwealth realms represent the last vestige of Britain colonial empire. So these small Commonwealth realms, they are the last threads which are keeping the colonial or the British colonial empire intact. They are the last thread, and which binds the British monarch to about 150 million people who are outside the United Kingdoms. So these smaller Commonwealth realms become very important for the United Kingdom, as they are the ones who are binding the king or the monarchy or the royals of the United Kingdom with the people living outside United Kingdoms. And the formation of the Commonwealth nations was an attempt by the Queen Victoria, who wanted to maintain control. Important word here is control. Who wanted to maintain the control over the colonies, because the movements for the independence among the countries were growing stronger. So when she realized that now the independence movement among the countries, or the nationalist movement among the countries, is growing very fast and people are becoming very enthusiastic about getting independence, so she realized that it is the right time that we need to move away from these countries. So she thought that maintaining control over the colonies, as movements for the independence grew stronger, and in 1867, Canada made its frustration with the imperial oversight, and Queen agreed to grant dominion status to it. So in 1867, it became clear that now the countries wanted to move out. The countries did not want the monarchy or the royals to rule over them. Then, and what is the meaning of the dominion status? Dominion status means a self-rule, but Britain can veto policies at the monarch's discretion. This is what is the meaning of the dominion status. It means self-rule. The country will have its own rule, but British will have the veto over its policies. But it was not that British was always interfering in it, but this was the dominion status. And the dominion includes Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. Then what happened in 1926 was Britain and Dominion agreed to be equal in status. Earlier what happened was they were given the Dominion status, but the Britain could veto policies. So with time, the Dominion states and the British were coming on par with each other. So in 1926, the Britain and the Dominion states agreed to be equal in status. So this tells about the declining power of the British with time and the increasing strata of the Dominion states. And it was the Statute of Westminster in 1931 which marked the founding of the British Commonwealth of Nations. Very important point. So what marked the founding of the British Commonwealth Nations? It was the Statute of Westminster in 1931. Then in 1949, independent India was invited to join the Commonwealth. So when was the independent India was invited to join the Commonwealth? It was after getting independence in 1947. In 1949, India was invited to join the Commonwealth. But India also had some points that they wanted to put. So India should be given membership without the requirement of having to swear allegiance to the crown. So this is what India said, that we will join, but there should not be power of crown above us. So India, Pakistan and then Sri Lanka, that was Ceylon, joined the Commonwealth. And 4 countries in the Commonwealth, that is Mozambique, Rwanda, Togo and Gabon, they had no colonial ties with Britain, but still they are a part of Commonwealth, because it is not that Commonwealth was bad for countries. For some countries who were not doing that good economically, Commonwealth proved good for them. It got them positive results. So the 4 countries which did not had any ties with the British, but still they are present in the Commonwealth nations or a Commonwealth grouping are Mozambique, Rwanda in 2009, Togo 2022 and Gabon 2022. So Togo and Gabon are the recent countries to join the Commonwealth nation. And there was one Asian country which has recently joined back the Commonwealth groupings, and earlier it was a part of Commonwealth grouping, then it went out and then again it joined the Commonwealth grouping. So who's that country? That is Maldives. And Mozambique at the starting was a Portuguese colony, so it was not a British colony. Rwanda was ruled by Belgians and Germans, while the Togo and Gabon was ruled by French. So they did not have any relation with the British. So this is what is the history of Commonwealth, that how it all started. So the important points here becomes that it was attempted by Queen Victoria in the starting. Then the Statute of Westminster in 1931 is marked as the founding of the British Commonwealth of Nations. Then in 1949, India was invited to become the part of Commonwealth. But important time, India said that without the requirement of having to swear alliance to the crown, they did not want the alliance with the crown, then only they will join the Commonwealth. So these are the important point. And there are also countries in the Commonwealth nations which do not have an alliance with the British. Now let us talk about what are the positives of the Commonwealth. So the countries who are not have alliance with the British had some really positive effect of becoming a part of the Commonwealth, and that is they had a useful network of diplomatic and cultural influence. See, because Commonwealth nations have some really big countries. It has India, it has Australia, New Zealand, UK. So coming and contacting with these countries has also brought the other smaller countries on bigger platforms. And it can exercise soft power on the world stage as they have become a part of a big grouping. Then it has importance of English as a language, as we all know that English is a very big communicating language of business, science and international politics. And it can also give them economic development support, because these countries are very weak on their finances, while UK has a good economy and has a good GDP. So the Commonwealth nations can get them on the world stage, and it can also use their soft power to get them on par with other countries. Now let us talk about Elizabeth and her relation with the Commonwealth. Queen Elizabeth II was coronation on June 2, 1953, after her father, that was King George VI, passed away. Then she was considered to be among the most travelled heads of the state in history, and she has ruled for, and she is considered to be the longest reigning monarch of the United Kingdoms. And she also talked about racial equality and strong ties between the Commonwealth nations and whichever nations she visited. In 1995, she visited South Africa to commemorate the end of apartheid, and then inducted the nation into the Commonwealth grouping. So South Africa is also a part of the Commonwealth nations. Then Queen had no influence. Queen had no influence on the governance of member states of the Commonwealth of Nations and Commonwealth realms, of which she was head of state. See, even though she was the head of the state of few of the countries of Commonwealth nations, but it does not mean that she had influence on the governance of these countries. So she was letting them work the way they want. So she was not interfering in their internal matters or their governance. Then there are some later group of countries which had some constitutional duties, and these constitutional duties are to be fulfilled by the monarch or by the queen. And what are those duties that the monarch need to do? And that is giving approval of new governments and legislation, then grant of state honors, or the appointment of certain officials. These are some of the duties that the monarch or the queen was doing and was responsible for. And these roles were largely ceremonial, with only one significant exception. So till the time queen was doing these things, it's not that there was any disruption taking place. Things were going well in place, but there is one exception to it. And that exception is called the greatest constitutional crisis in the history of Australia. This was the time when there was disruption in the relationship between the Queen and her Commonwealth nation. And this was the time when there was disruption between the Queen's duties. So this took place in 1975. So what happened? I've written the full story in these 5 lines. That is, Sir John Kerr was the Governor General of Australia, and Australia is a Commonwealth nation, and Australia's head of state is the monarch. So the Queen's representative to the country was the Governor General of Australia. He unilaterally dismissed, unilaterally is the major word here, he unilaterally dismissed the sitting Prime Minister without consulting the Queen or the monarch. So he unilaterally dismissed the sitting Prime Minister Whitlam of the Labour Party to break a parliamentary deadlock, and then commissioned the leader of the opposition, Fraser, to the Liberal Party to succeed him. This story, the important word in all these 5 lines is unilateral. The Governor General of Australia needed to take the permission of the Queen. but he did not do it. And this is the first and the only exception time, which is called the greatest constitutional crisis in the history of Australia, 1975, that when the orders of the Queen were not followed, when the duties of the Queen was disrupted. Now let us talk about leaving the Commonwealth. So few of the countries who has left the Commonwealth in recent past and in the past, that is during the time of 1970s, many countries were leaving the Commonwealth nations. For example, Dominica, Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago. Then recently in 2021, Barbados has left the constitutional realm or the constitutional nations, because many a times it is considered that the countries are leaving the Commonwealth nation because it is losing its prominence, as the priorities of the Britain might not be same as the priorities of other nations. So the priorities of Britain might not align with those of the member state, and there is divide between Britain's priorities and other countries' priorities, and that divide can be cultural or the foreign policy. And recently, in the recent past, we have seen that Black Lives Matter, this was a protest which was going on as one of the blacks was killed. So the Black Lives Matter protest created a rift between the crown and its black Commonwealth subjects. This became very popular. You people can go and search about the Black Lives Matter protest. This became very popular, and the countries who were having white supremacy was under scrutiny. The new monarch would be able to lawfully appoint Governor General in countries of the Commonwealth realm. Now that it is said that the Queen has ruled the Commonwealth nations for so long, that now whoever new king, that is the King Charles II, would come, will he be having the same acceptability among the member nations like the Queen Elizabeth II? It cannot be the same, or it might be the same. We cannot answer it at present. But few of the duties that he needs to do, or the monarch needs to do, is the appointment of Governor General in the countries of the Commonwealth realm. For doing this, many a times there needs to be a change in the constitution, and every time making a change in the constitution is not preferred by any country. So change in constitution to refer the king as their head of state instead of the queen. So this is the problem, or this is the problem which can occur in future, that member countries needs to change their constitution to change the name from queen to king. And will the constitution, or will the member countries change their constitution or make amendment in their constitution that in place of queen, the king word would be inserted into it? Then in Canada, if they want to leave the Commonwealth, then amendment to its constitution needs to be made, while in Australia a referendum needs to come. And King Charles III are seen with similar affection or not, it is also remains to seen, because Queen Elizabeth II was known for its goodwill among the people, and she was accepted by the people, and she was the queen of the people, and she had remained in touch with her people, and people used to accept her with open hearts. That is what will be the challenge in front of King Charles III, and that will determine the future of the Commonwealth also, because if that would not happen, then the countries would want to move out from the Commonwealth, as already the Commonwealth nations are losing its relevance as a grouping. Now let us come to the prelims MCQ, and that is, consider the following statements regarding the Commonwealth. First statement is, it is a group of 56 member countries. We have done this one. And second is, 4 European nations are part of it. You people need to tell me the answer in the comment section, and the codes are 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 nor 2. So let us move to the last section, that is the mains practice question. And this says, what do you mean by Commonwealth? Talk about its history and India's relationship with Commonwealth, it is a 10 marker question. So you people can do your answer writing practice. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Till we meet next time, keep reading and keep writing.